firstly, thank you very much for joining us. If you could just introduce yourself to our listeners and tell them a little bit about yourself to start us off.
Yeah, certainly. So, well, first of all, thank you very much for having me on. So my name's Cormac McGee. I'm a doctor here. I'm based in London. And essentially, I've been, most of my work at the moment as a researcher is working on this new trial, which is something called the Revita trial, which I'm hoping to tell your listeners a bit about today, which is a new treatment for type 2 diabetes.
Well, tell us a bit about sort of how many people in our area actually are currently affected by diabetes.
Yeah, so I mean, the thing I think that probably most people have seen sort of across newspapers and on the news is that type 2 diabetes is really something that's growing all over the UK. And to give you an idea, really, it's sort of about 1 in every 20 people now, a little bit more than that, have got type 2 diabetes. So you're talking about a huge number of people. And there's a potential here to try and treat all those people who are really struggling with their disease.
So how actually is it sort of currently treated?
Yeah, so type 2 diabetes at the moment, the sort of current treatment is that in the first instance, the people are given advice on diet to try and have a more healthy diet to try and control their blood sugars. But as you and I both know, that can be really difficult. And in addition, people are given advice on things like exercise, which we know really helps promote good blood sugars and control. But then the majority of people, most people, go on to tablet medications in the first instance to try and improve the sugars that they have and try and improve the diabetes. But in a lot of people, after a period of time, the diabetes continues to get worse and they often end up on other medications which need to be injected. So things that you've probably heard of, like insulin, but there are other newer medications as well. So there are lots of medications, but unfortunately for a lot of people, that doesn't seem to quite be enough, or they don't get on with the medications as well.
So how does this sort of new way work, and what does that involve?
Yeah, so listen, so this is a completely different way of looking at diabetes. So what we know is that actually in diabetes, the first bit of your gut, actually just outside the stomach, is actually really important. So it releases hormones and other signals which control the blood sugars whenever you eat a meal. And research has shown that that's really important from other procedures that have been done. So what we try and do in this is we actually do an endoscopy, which is a camera test, which many of your listeners will have had before, which is what we do normally to look into the stomach and that area. And we do that, and the patients are asleep, so they don't know what's going on. It's not uncomfortable. And then we then pass a little balloon down actually into that first bit of the gut, the bit just outside the stomach, and then we heat that up. And the reason for doing that is to try and treat the cells that are there that have become abnormal in patients with diabetes in the plan that then they turn to more normal cells, and then you get better control of their blood sugars afterwards.
So I was hoping you could sort of tell us a bit more about people suffering from type 2 diabetes.
Yeah, so type 2 diabetes can be a really problematic and really difficult disease for people because it has lots of complications. So it can lead to things like heart attacks and strokes, and it can be associated and joint with blood pressure and stuff like that. So what we're hoping is that by doing a new, different treatment, we can really help to sort of try and avoid those things through a sort of a procedure that's a one-off procedure. You come in as an outpatient and go home the same day. And we already know we've been doing this for a while now, and it's been treated in sort of over 100 people worldwide, and it's here in NHS hospitals in the UK. So we know it's safe, and we're just trying to find out a bit more about exactly how it works and how well it works in different types of people with diabetes.
So it's kind of tackling it in a new way rather than just using medicines to sort of in a simple way sort of mask it, is it, in that sense?
Yeah, no, completely. I think what we're trying to do here is try and, in some ways, trying to hit it at the source. So, to really try and get in and treat the bit of the gut that we think is really important a different way. As you know, a lot of people don't like being on medications. They have problems and side effects with medications. We really hope this Revita trial is really going to be important for them, and could be something that's really useful to try and help these people's health.
Was there anything about it that you'd like to let our listeners know about that we've not covered?
Well, I think all I'd say to them is obviously there's a lot of stuff involved whenever you have a trial, but we're really keen to hear from your listeners, and whether that's about them, or they'd like to pass on the details to their friends and family who they know have got diabetes, the best way to get information about it is via our website, which is www.revitatrial.com, which is spelled REVITATRIAL.com. And that's got lots of information on the different sites we're doing it, which are both in London, in Nottingham and Glasgow. We've got a couple of sites here in London, and one that might be a bit closer down towards your listeners in South London, but also another one more in North Central London. So really what I'd say to them is come and have a look at the website, have a look what involves, but then most importantly, reach out to us and come and have a chat to us and find out more.
Well, I'd like to thank you very much for taking the time out to talk to me today.
And thank you very much for having me on today.